Sacred One, this is your moment to step into a time of empowerment and divine alignment, a timeline where your highest potential and deepest truth meet. In this space, we will release old patterns, energy, and beliefs that no longer serve your sacred journey, and attune to the vibration of peace, power, and purpose. To move forward with clarity and grace, we must lovingly release what holds us back and intentionally align with the frequency of what elevates us. The best times to practice this meditation are at the start of your day as the world awakens, and at night as you prepare to rest. Each time you return here, you are signaling your readiness to embody your sacred timeline. As we begin, take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale fully through your mouth. And repeat after me. I am open to release what no longer serves me. I honor the power of this present moment. I align with my sacred timeline of transformation and grace. Now, as we close our eyes, allow your body to relax. Feel your shoulders soften and your heart open. Imagine yourself standing at a radiant crossroad. To your left, you see the shadows of old cycles, limiting beliefs, environments, and habits that you've kept in your patterns of resistance or doubt. And to your right, a golden path stretches forward, vibrant and expansive, glowing with the energy of your highest self. Step boldly onto this golden path. As you walk, feel the weight of the past fall away. The vibrations of clarity, strength, and alignment begin to rise within you. Breathe deeply. With every step, you're moving closer to your sacred timeline. Now place your hand gently over your heart. Feel its rhythm. Constant, steady, and a reminder of your divine connection to life and creation itself. And say to yourself out loud, I am attuning to peace. I am attuning to abundance. I am attuning to my divine purpose. Feel these words as more than affirmations. They are truths signaling to the universe and to your soul that you are ready and connected to the most divine. As this meditation comes to a close, imagine a soft, golden light surrounding you. This is your sacred timeline. You are living it now. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Open your eyes when you're ready, bringing with you the energy of this sacred moment. And as we close, may we affirm, I am anchored in my sacred timeline. I honor my power to transform. I am ready for what is divinely mine. I thank you for this sacred time together. Repeat this meditation daily. Each time you strengthen your signal and attune deeper and deeper to your sacred priorities and divine assignments. You are already walking in your sacred timeline. Welcome. Peace and greetings, family.
Divine
Peace and
rising.
greetings.
Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Greetings, Divine Rising.
I say.
It's good to be
Well,
back in the space.
it's amazing to be back in a space.
Mhm.
It feels aligned.
It does. And timely.
Yes.
And timely. And
Yes.
timely. So we give thanks to see so many familiar faces and some new. This will definitely also be recorded so that each of us can return to the experience when we'd like. And for those of us that weren't necessarily able to be physically present, but we know are transforming with us in this space energetically.
I say. I say.
Ashe. So we're gonna hop right in. We're gonna hop right in. Just to reintroduce ourselves. So I am Tanasia Polk,
And
and
I am wellness warrior James Polk.
Ashe, Ashe.
I say.
And we are wellness advocates and practitioners in holistic practice. And this space at this time is actually held for us to rise into our sacred responsibility. And already having known so many of you, right? And getting to know so many others, I know if you've been called into this space, it's because you've already surrendered to that rise.
Mm,
You've already said yes, to your awareness that there's an assignment on your life, that everything you've been moving through and moving toward, has been for divine purpose and divine reason. And you are moving beyond this state of believing that awareness is enough, right?
mm,
That you are already in your inner standing, that the awareness is stage one
mm,
and potentially very important, right?
mm,
Essential. But once you have the awareness, the action is taken when you lean into the responsibility. So
mm.
James and I are here to hold the space for us to do so for ourselves and for you.
I say. I say. I say. And I'm just gonna light these candles so that we can um, ignite
Mm.
ourselves, our mind, body, and spirit, our ancestors, and for everything to be the way it should be in this moment.
Ashe,
I say,
Ashe. Bringing in the elements.
say,
Okay.
I say. And I will,
Go right into the book.
yes.
So we will be stepping through sacred responsibility. I know as a collective, we've already moved through quite a few experiences, right?
Mm,
Quite a few books, life-changing in many ways, or life-sustaining, even we can say, right? At this time, we'll actually be moving through a book that is my most recent, right?
mhm,
Called Sacred Responsibility: How to Live Gently and Truthfully After Awakening. So again, this space is for those who are post-awakening. We our eyes are wide open. We are of what they would refer to, right? The tribe of woke.
mm,
But again, just leaning into the responsibility of how to know better and do better.
I say,
So we'll get started.
say. I will bring us in with a short passage. So there is a moment when the world does not change, but you do. It can happen while you are standing at a kitchen sink, your hands in the water that has already gone cold. It can happen in a car at a red light, when the same song comes on and your body responds before your mind can explain why. It can happen in the middle of a meeting while someone speaks to you in a voice that expects you to shrink and you realize you no longer know how. You do not announce it. You do not even fully understand it at first. You only notice that you cannot return to the version of yourself who could pretend. The morning still looks the same. The calendar remains crowded. Messages keep arriving. Bills do not pause for insight. Your family still has needs. Your work still has expectations. Your friends still reach for the version of you they have memorized. The mirror reflects the same face, the same hairline, the same eyes, but inside you, Something has moved into its rightful place.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe. And I'll expand by opening the way into the introduction. Most people think awakening is an ending to confusion, an ending to suffering, an ending to repeating the same patterns with different faces, different jobs, different cities. And in one sense, it is. But awakening is also a beginning, not a beginning of knowing, a beginning of living what you know. That is the part that rarely gets celebrated, the part that does not translate easily into a quote, a workshop, or a clean transformation story. Because awareness does not automatically make life easier. Sometimes it makes life more exact. And exactness can feel heavier at first. It removes ambiguity, it exposes cost, it narrows the distance between what you perceive and what you practice. You begin to notice where you've been abandoning yourself, the subtle bargains you've been making, trading truth for belonging, boundaries for peace, real desire for what looks responsible. You feel the difference between being a good person and being a coherent one. And coherence, once felt, does not allow you to return comfortably to performance. And then your life keeps happening. Work still requires decisions with consequence. Relationships still require timing, repair, and restraint. Family still carries history. The world still moves with pressure. Your body still has limits. Your heart still holds tenderness. Awakening does not suspend those realities, it heightens your contact with them. So the question becomes quieter and more demanding. How does someone who knows live gently and truthfully when life still requires real weight-bearing choices? This book, this experience exists inside that question, not for the beginning of awakening, but for what follows it, not for inspiration, but for responsibility.
That's it.
Ashe,
That's it.
Ashe. And so with that, family, this is why we're here. This is why we're here. We're going to pause in a moment so that we can hear from you all. What landed for you in your spirit when you heard the phrase sacred responsibility?
Mm.
Yeah. So I'll start and then I'll shift it to you, James. For me, sacred responsibility was a phrase that was birthed into my spirit um, as I started to move closer to my divine assignments, right? And I say plural because I think at some point potentially in our journey we believe maybe we have one, right? And we might even be on like this journey to find the purpose, right? And to reveal the one. And then you start to realize, oh, there's multiple, right? And then you realize you have all the tools you need, you have all the capacity you need in order to navigate them. But divine assignment felt like stage one, right? It felt like, okay, that's the verbiage I'm familiar with, right? That's the language I've grown in the direction of. Divine assignment, divine assignments, plural. But then that wasn't where the weight shifted. I started to recognize it felt heavier once I uncovered what those assignments on my life were, right? Because some of them can have timelines that end. And I started to realize that beyond the assignment, the heaviness that I felt was the responsibility to hold the line of the assignment,
Mm.
right? So the divine assignment is the coming of a life or coming online of your awareness of why you're here, of your awareness why you are surrendering to certain spaces, your awareness of why, the Most High within and without places you in certain spaces, right? The big task, the small task. That's the divine assignment, the awareness. But then the responsibility is that weight that comes on when you now know, wow, this means a lot for me. This means there are some changes that I'll need to make and also adhere to in my life because I'm aware of them. It also means there's some commitments that I need to hold the line and hold myself accountable to. And that awareness was just that first layer. And the assignment was the revelation within that layer. But then the sacred responsibility is leaning into the doing,
Mhm.
leaning into saying yes to that assignment and walking the line towards it. So it definitely was a shock for me because it felt heavier. When I had this expectation that once I find my purpose, life is going to feel lighter, weightless, and I'm just gonna surrender to it. I'll float through it all and everything will feel, like a sense of ease. But first it felt heavier.
So,
Yeah.
so I say, for me, I mean, the words when you at first said sacred responsibility,
Yeah.
you know, and I heard the vibrations come out of your mouth about it and it hit my body, I knew immediately like
Hmm.
what it was for me and what it felt like for me. Self accountability. I understood that it's what I needed to hear because I know the words. I I have my daily routines.
Hmm.
I say my affirmations. I'm the guy that speaks to his water. I do all these things, um, acts, the rituals. Um, but it's almost like you have to, for me, remind myself that now that I know better,
Hmm.
it is my sacred responsibility to myself, not to anybody else,
Hmm.
no matter who's looking, who's not looking.
Hmm.
For me, I have a sacred responsibility um, to implement what I'm learning, um, to continue to research and work on myself, to hold myself accountable when things show up that I know and I feel, and I know it, and I truly, truly feel it, and I understand what's happening. For me to recognize it, absorb it, say it to myself, understand what's happening, and then hold myself accountable for it. Um, our body, to me, my body feels and understands everything that's happening now because I do have the
Hmm.
awareness.
Hmm.
Um, even that opening passage of talking about, you know, not feeling the same, like things happen, but you're not the same person within those
Hmm.
situations. Um, but yet maybe there's a little performance or different things that show up and that's not who you are and you
Hmm.
can't be that person anymore. It
Hmm.
just doesn't feel
Oh, that's
aligned.
good. Yeah, that code switch.
Right.
No more.
No more. Like you can't. Your body is telling you it doesn't even feel right when you
Hmm.
try. Um, that is the sacred responsibility to have understand that feeling and make the proper adjustments so that you may feel aligned within your own body.
Ashe,
That's
ashe,
it.
ashe. And it's amazing, and I love the example that you gave, even of that code switch, right? That moment when you shift into presenter mode,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you recognize it
Hmm. Hmm.
immediately. And you're right, that's the moment when you recognize that you are, in fact,
Hmm.
immediately leaning into your sacred responsibility.
Hmm.
And it's really that the duality of holding the awareness, but then taking the aligned action at the
Hmm.
same time. And so that is what this experience is intended to really hold space for the next 6 weeks. We're going to be stepping through the chapters of the book. And some of the chapters have some breath work in it because some of what we're going to be reading will just require exactly that, right?
Hmm.
Those moments where we really just need to the way you described it, babe, which is to let it really sit in the body,
Hmm.
right? What we're moving through, what we're feeling, what's coming up for us.
Hmm.
And then there'll be some moments within it in the chapters where there are some prompts. And it's because the integration is the piece nobody talks about, right? How do we move to your experience like that you shared, babe? How do we move from our knowing, which is so top heavy and in our mind, and then bring it into the body so that we inhabit not only who we truly are, but we inhabit our assignments and then we move forward. And so those integration prompts are in there as well.
Hmm.
And after this call today and each week on our Tuesdays, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time live call, we'll open the way right after in the school community so that you'll have an additional prompt. And that's for those of us, if we don't yet have our hands on the book, you'll not be left behind, right? There'll be a space in there for you to get started with some immediacy, with some language and also prompts there. There'll also be the meditation that we started this week with, and then each week we'll rotate. James and I will be sharing. You'll hear from both of our audio on the meditations,
Mm.
right? We'll also include the recording for the session prior. And all of that will be housed inside of our school community. Really grateful that everyone has made the shift to go into that space because it really does make it a lot more organized for us to keep our hands on the tools. And going back to responsibility, it's important that we stay organized
Mm.
and that the pieces that we can make simple are made simple so that we can stay in our healthiest holistic form to stay on the path of responsibility.
I say.
Ashe.
Okay, and I know we're gonna open it up
Hmm.
to the floor. Um, are you gonna do like pass the mic, or are you gonna just open it up in spirit for those who wanna?
Yeah. Well, what are you leaning into? I feel like in spirit.
Yes,
Yeah.
in spirit. And you know, I was speaking to one brother, and he just has this line that he said that just keeps replaying in my head, which I think is just so amazing. Like he said, you can keep hula hooping with the words,
Mm. That was an immediate visual for me.
right? Right? When he said it, I was just like, whoa, you can keep hula hooping with the words, right? But when do you like step into your sacred responsibility?
Oh my God.
Right? So that brother knows who he is. So I'll wait in spirit if he, chooses to open up or not. But I just thought it was so profound on how
Mm.
it was such a visual,
Mhm.
and connected. Um, and I see that brother has opened up his mic. So in spirit, I know that um, he is here to bless us with his voice.
Ashe,
I say,
Ashe, welcome, King.
Peace, peace, family, peace.
peace.
6 o'clock in the morning. I'm
Right.
here to do work. I'm not here to spectate. Nobody on here got up 6 o'clock in the morning to watch. We came to participate. So
I
I
say,
want to say that first and foremost. So I'm giving gratitude to everybody who showed up. Thank you, brother Pope. Thank you, Sister Sinasia, for making the space available to us. I want to go to what came to me, what came to us in regards to the name Sacred Responsibility.
Mm.
Um, I think about Dick Gregory when he talked about the glasses. He said, once you everybody know the viral video, when you put the shades on, it comes with a catch, it comes with a stipulation. You can't take them off because you're never going to see things the same after that. Once we got this information, the information was sacred. The responsibility is implementing it
Mhm.
and being a visual, vivid, 3D, real life, solid example to the people that we deal with every day around us, our spouses, our children, our co-workers, our neighbors, to see what that new possibility looks like.
Mm.
The sacredness is the information. The responsibility is for us to be genuine in living that and acting on that.
Ashe.
We had a very good conversation last night. And anytime I say something, I'm always talking to myself first because
Mm.
like, I never want to be one of those people that talk down to people or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
subliminally put people down without just making people feel bad. I don't never want. I'm talking to myself first.
I say,
Mhm.
I say.
I'll hula hoop with those words. I'll boomerang some trauma out, knowing that the boomerang don't go one direction, it comes back. So
Ashe.
the sacred responsibility that we have recognized since 2022, us men from formation number 5 and every man after that we met, and the sisters as well. The sacred responsibility now has to be our genuine self that was exposed and revealed with this healing information. We got to see who the real us was. But I was thinking about this last night because Brother Poke, you know, in my brain, I was thinking about, oh, Joe Jackson came to my mind. Joe Jackson,
Mm.
huh? Papa Joe. And I said that survival mode that we was in, it was like Joe watching the Five Boys.
Mm.
And even he was climbing the ladders on all these shows and it. But at the end of the day, the survival mode, Papa Joe was like, and you know I can get you if I want, so you better act right. And if I call you back, because I got that fear power over you gonna cut. And that's what was happening
Mm.
while we were just learning these terms.
Mm.
I'm talking to the men because we know how we were just learning this lingo and this
Shay.
jargon.
Shay.
Mhm.
Huh? And the survival mode was sitting there like Papa Joe, like I can call you back because you're not real. I can call you back.
Mhm.
What?
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm?
Mm.
So the responsibility now is for us to be genuine to ourselves because that's what it's really about. You gotta say that
Shay.
carefully. The people pleasing, the performing. We all know that never felt right because we all thought I'm gonna end this right here. Like I said, I didn't come here to just watch. I came here to participate. I'm gonna end this right here. We all know how it feels to be disingenuous to ourselves.
Ah, come on.
Mm.
We know exactly how that feels. And it's a weird physical feeling right here, like in the
Mhm.
sternum area. Then it like drips down into your stomach like wax.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sacred responsibility is to be done with that. Say, I know this stuff. I'm living by this now. This I'm going back to the terrible twos that wasn't afraid of nothing.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
sacred responsibility.
Mhm.
Shay.
Okay.
Shay. Shay. The terrible twos.
Mm. Mm. I
Because
see.
that is very visual.
Right.
Very
Right.
visual. I'm like, wow. You know, like you said, right? The part of you that's been exposed,
Mm. Yeah.
right? The
Mm.
part of you that you've seen, you've experienced that it can't hide any longer.
Mhm.
James and I were talking about this last night. It's like, you know, everyone has their habits,
Mm.
those habits or have had those habits of the ones that you naturally kind of became inclined to do, right? Consume whatever the habit is, right? And then the moment when you became aware that the habit was no longer beneficial to you,
Mm.
right? Like if we just use the habit as an example,
Mhm.
the moment that the habit was no longer beneficial to you, or perhaps it never was, but the light bulb moment happens when you now know.
Mhm.
And now, not only are you carrying the weight
Mm.
of the habit each time you indulge in it,
Mm.
but you're carrying the awareness at the same time. And we all know what stress does to the mind, the body, the spirit, right? Emotionally, otherwise. And so now the stressor of that habit that you may have already identified as no good, right?
Mhm.
It's not contributing to your holistic wellness. And then you bring online the stress of, and while you're indulging in it, your body is going, and we know we don't need it.
Right.
We know we shouldn't
Right.
have it. We
Right.
know our proximity to this
Mhm.
should be growing distance. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? That's how stress compounds.
Mhm.
Sometimes we think it's about, those frustrating moments where you're engaged in conflict or, doing something that you really truly don't want to do. What about when it's doing something you do
Right.
want to do, but you know better now?
Right. Right.
That's stress too. And when we think about the way stress shows up in the body, we don't have to list the ways. We know. We know. We know. So now each time the light bulb moment comes on, and like Brother Ruli said, you
Mm.
expose, because that's the powerful word right there,
Right.
right? You expose a new knowing. You have now amplified the weight of whatever that exposure is. And the only way to really grow free from it is to release it
I
and
see.
to shift into doing what you know is right.
I see.
And so that's what this book is going to step us through, because it can feel so easy to just say, right? Like, oh, we know, we say it all the time. You know better, you do better. But there's a lot of grief and awareness and shifts and practice that need to happen in order to really grow more comfortable with that.
Mhm. And just stay there for a moment. And again, thank you, Brother Uli, for, always blessing us with your words,
Mhm.
your vibrations as always. Just stay there for a minute because I think everybody relates and understands that weight.
Mhm.
Like when you talk about compounding that quiet weight of knowing and
Mhm.
having the awareness now, but still
Mhm.
doing whatever that habit is,
Mhm.
and it just doesn't feel the
Mhm.
same anymore,
Mhm.
everybody knows that feeling.
Mhm.
The question is, when you get that feeling, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
You know, like we said, it's the sacredness and then it's the actual responsibility,
Mhm.
right? Don't accept being okay with feeling misaligned and
Mhm.
surviving through it, as
Mhm.
we said in the book, right?
Mhm.
Surviving through the misalignment. No, it's happening. You
Mhm.
are feeling it for a reason. What are you going to do with it?
Right. Right.
Oh, you know what I did with it? I ran to the chat and said, "Can y'all do the book club for sacred responsibility?"
It
I
makes sense.
said.
Oh my goodness, so timely.
Yes, because I was so there and I was feeling
Yeah.
so much resistance. Like it was this inner battle with like, okay, pretty much like you said, Janasia, if you know better, then you do better. But it was just like, ooh, do I want to do that?
Mhm.
Can I do that? Like, what is it going to look like for me to have to really, really do that? Because I am a person who, when I do decide to commit to something, and it takes me a while to find something that I actually want to commit to, but I'm like, I'm in it, 10 toes down. And I'm like, oh no, this is just what it is moving forward. And that responsibility, the weight of it just felt so great that I was like, I don't know, like maybe I'll just tiptoe in it around it, but because the calling was also so great, it was like, no, you can't play with it. You either
Mhm,
do it or you don't.
mhm,
Mhm.
And one of the things that even before we are starting the book club, which I'm so grateful to you all for, answering the call and for you for writing the book. Yeah, it was just like, I couldn't believe it when I was having the moment. And I was like, I think I got a book around here somewhere. Like, and I said, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to have to reach out to my sis and see what I could do because I'm going to need some help and some accountability through this process. But as I sat with it, more and more, I was realizing that the sacred responsibility is not a burden, right? It really started to become an honor. And I started to recognize more that what I've been entrusted with is not accidental, right? And that really caring for it is an act of reverence. And I think initially when I thought of responsibility, it felt very heavy because it felt like it was carrying everything, right, for everybody. But then as I sat with it more, it was just like, no, I need to have more discernment around what is actually mine to carry, right? And so now when I hear sacred responsibility, and like I think about it as like, my body is sacred responsibility, my children are a sacred responsibility, even like my gifts our sacred response. My business, right? I had
mhm,
even started to look at the lens of my business in a totally different way, which is changing how I even like engage with my clients or even want to do more, right? Because for a while I was just kind of like, learned all the things. I'm just gonna, run this play for the rest of forever. But now it's like there's definitely the shift, but like I said, holding the responsibility with only what is mine to carry. And I'm like, oh, other people's choices or what they decide to do, that is not my responsibility. Their healing, that's not my responsibility. Or their approval, not my responsibility. How people feel about me or think about me, not my responsibility. Like all of that.
Come on with that.
mhm,
Come on with that.
mhm,
And that's what I'm telling you. I'm like, this has been so like just perfect, perfect. And so I just really, really, ugh, really appreciate being in this space right now and having you all to like really guide us through it. Because I really now, like I said, I'm accepting the sacred responsibility with joy, because I've been able to flesh it out a lot more into what it actually means to me. And understanding that like everything that I actually have been entrusted to care for belongs to the Most High first, and I have just been invited to like steward it well. And so I'm just grateful to be in this space right now. I am complete.
So,
Everything about that just felt like a
right.
poem.
Right.
Like it just felt like a hug. And so I'm just so grateful, that you're in this space and that you call forward the activation of it, as well. It was something that James and I had been discussing, and the confirmation showed up, in you. The confirmation showed up in Brother Ruli reaching out to James, and it was all aligned at the same time. You know what I mean? And it's so incredible. And it's the gift of having true community,
That's it.
And so we just so deeply appreciate you being a part of our tribe,
That's
and likewise being those divine reflections. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yes,
all
I
woven
heard
up in you.
Brother Ruli talking about like I did not come here to sit, and I said I know that's right. You talk about
Right.
it's 4 o'clock in the morning where I am. I said I was
It's
up like hold
fun.
on now, I got to get on my
Right.
call and
That's
get my
it.
day started. So give thanks.
Give
Good
thanks.
nice. Good nice. Thank
Give
you, sis.
thanks.
Thank
So
you.
beautiful.
That's it.
Ashe. Brother AJ. Peace King.
Rising, rising, rising.
Rising.
Hello, family.
Hello.
Um, I'm so glad I woke up and joined the collective this morning.
Mm.
In agreement with Brother Polk, our brother Ruli definitely ignited us with some, I want to say, wellness warrior words of wisdom
Mm.
to just bring us back to where we really need to be. And the cardinal word is accountability, right? I think that as I heard people speak about um, what sacred responsibility meant to them, accountability does definitely jump off the page. But for me, what came to me as my, I guess, personal sacred responsibility at this time is to just show up and just to be present and to let the energy that's already awarded here do what it needs to do. It's kind of like, in retrospect, to people who are familiar with um, religion or just say God, we talk about the Holy Spirit, how the Holy Spirit will show up when the time is necessary. In this realm of this collective, just I look at the energy that we bring when we come together as that spirit. But I think the sacred responsibility of that is showing up, yes, but also understanding. If you realize, like we all talked about, knowing what we're supposed to be doing,
Mhm.
but not being able to tackle it for whatever the reasons are.
Mhm.
I think that comes down to divine timing
Mhm.
and understanding that we're truly not in control of our time. It's all in the Creator's time,
Mhm.
and that was makes your sacred responsibility just to show up because he can't do it for you if you're not in the arena,
Yes, come on.
I say.
right? You have to. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's your responsibility to you can't you can't expect to have a change if you don't show up.
Ashe.
If you don't start showing up for yourself, if you don't show up for others, um, And so that's what came to me as far as
Mm,
just the sacred responsibility is just making sure that you're in the places that you're supposed to be,
mm,
not worrying about the time of the receiving, but just being there so that you can receive.
mm.
So with that, I I yield. Thank you again, everyone.
Ashe, Ashe.
So,
And you give thanks for that because
yes.
it's such an amazing reminder of the permission
Hmm.
that we all have and deserve, right? That it's, you don't always have to be in your doing.
Mm-mm.
You don't always have to be in your saying. You can be in your being,
Mm.
and that can be enough, So giving thanks for Brother AJ calling that forward as also a responsibility, like
Absolutely.
recognizing when the time has shifted
Yeah.
between you walking forward in your doing and sitting in stillness in
Mhm.
your time of receiving or your time of being. That was powerful.
That is. That
Give
is.
thanks for
Thank you
that.
for that, brother AJ. Yeah.
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 Ashe.
I see.
And Empress, peace and greetings, Queen.
Greetings. This is
Greetings.
divine timing for me. Diving deeper into myself, and my relationship to have a healthy relationship with my mate and everybody around me. This is divine timing. I have a group that is we're diving into Newt for the next 3 months, and this is divine timing for me at the same time. Um, this is I think that it's very important that at this time, the way the world is right now, that we need to dive deep into ourselves with all the chaos and everything that's going around us.
Yeah.
We need to ground ourselves,
Mm.
and this work is needed to be done. And I really appreciate the and the honor to be in this group because this is right divine timing for me because this is what I'm doing right now, diving deep, and this is also a beautiful asset to my growth right now, my evolution. I
Mm.
give thanks.
Ashe, giving
Absolutely.
thanks
Give
for
thanks.
you, Empress,
Mm.
and to share space with you and to know of the sacred space and containers you're holding to expand this work.
Mm.
I know so many of us, right, that just as Empress shared, are aware of how external factors are impacting us. And sometimes
Mhm.
it's not necessarily even just us, because as we grow stronger, sometimes we're not as impacted, but it's impacting our communities. And so holding as much space as possible in our own divine ways
Mm-hmm.
is so essential. So just giving thanks for the
Yeah,
sacred work you're doing. So
I
yeah,
say yes. Give
give
thanks.
thanks. I'm
Ashe.
glad to be a part of this group. Give thanks.
Give
Give
thanks,
thanks.
give thanks.
You
And,
guys were
and
beautiful.
Give
as you are,
thanks. Ashe.
sis. And just to express, it is an honor.
Yeah.
It is an honor, and thank you for saying that as a word. And I heard that a couple times today. But it really is an honor when you sit down and when you talk about the sacred responsibility and the feeling that you have with family and community. It's an honor, and we don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
We're thankful for the exchange of energy as a community, as family, and leading with love. And you can feel it in the exchange every time we come together. So thank you for saying that word because it's an honor to be here and
Ashe.
work with everybody. So
It certainly
yeah.
is. It certainly is. And, I just wanted to add to that. It's such a powerful collective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time we get together, if you just have a moment to look around the room, right? Like just
Yes.
pull yourself into gallery view and
Yes.
just look around the room, in this space, and just recognize who you've attracted in this moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just James and I. This is in a circular attraction,
I say.
from this whole circle. And so if there's anyone that you've grown fond of, or anyone you've gleaned any inspiration from in this circle, in this moment, just know that it's because you're a complete reflection.
So,
You're a complete reflection. And so that, yes, I agree with you,
mhm.
and Empress, when you say it's an honor, it truly is.
Mhm.
And yeah.
See and that's something that's been awareness as well for
Hmm.
me, is understanding what that means. People say all the time, "Oh, we're reflections," but to really understand that,
What are we really reflecting?
right?
Yeah.
When you start looking through that lens,
Hmm.
that we are reflections in every way, you look at others differently
Hmm.
because you recognize that reflection.
Yeah.
You appreciate it. And I always, as you said, you sit through and you look at the gallery and you see all the powerful people, and you hear the exchanges, and you see the reflections, and you
Hmm.
can honor that in each other as well.
Ashe,
Yeah.
Ashe, Ashe. And Sister Selena, peace and greetings. Welcome, Queen.
Peace and blessings. Well, thank you. Give thanks. I wasn't sure if I was going to say anything or not. I'm taking it all in, and I'm feeling gratitude with this circle, and being and having the privilege of watching you two do the work of sacred responsibility from day one since I've known you and met you, and grateful that Tanasia uh, was my mentor during my Sacred Woman uh, rites of passage, and we've been together ever since. So I'm grateful for that. And this is such a timely time. I remember when Lorraine dropped that in the chat, and I was like, yes. And I didn't even open the book. I just put it on the shelf, like to really fully have this experience, and how timely divine timing is, as I'm in a season now of slowing down. The brother mentioned presence, being present and what that looks like, and recognizing that in responsibility, that I was not fully honoring myself. And so many things happened and all of that, and coming to the understanding that as I'm creating the circles, I call them circles of love, to support others. And I love when you said hold the line, and all of those things, that I am to be inside of the circle as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that, and the fact to be able to do it in community with people that look like me, sound like me, walk like me, talk like me, have similar experiences. So there is no code switching and all of the things. It's just a level of freedom, to be seen, heard, honored, reflected, mirrored. It's just so divine. So my spirit is feeling very rich and grateful, and a little bit of awe and wonder at all you beautiful souls.
Mhm.
And yeah, just thankful for that, because I am undertaking some work that's been sitting in my spirit since 2015, and fully bringing it back into the physical, and not just in my spirit. And so it's beautiful to be aligned and in community with you all.
That's
Ashe,
that's
Ashe, and likewise,
that's
likewise,
yes.
I'm complete.
giving things. Whenever I hear Sister Selena speak, it just feels like warmth.
I promise you, I was about to say that. I was about to
It's
say it
just
just
a,
felt so like
mhm.
and loving and
Just
give thanks,
a
sis. Thank
gentleness
you.
that just
Yes.
radiates, and
Yes.
give thanks for you,
When you
sis.
say you
I'm
feel like a
grateful.
warm hug
It
and
does
just
feel
yeah.
like a hug.
Yeah.
It does. Giving thanks for you being in the space. And I love the sacred reminder of, yes, so many of us are holding the line, holding the circle for many,
Mhm.
but making sure that we are on the
Inside
inside
of
of
the
that
circle,
circle.
yes.
That
Yes.
was powerful,
Yes.
sis.
Mhm. If I could expand a little bit more, that just
Yeah.
came up too, because the responsibility, and I believe, Brother James, you said this, is to ourselves first.
Mhm.
And so much of the world has been counterculture to that, and some of the experiences with, religion and what some would call the truth, and all of those things have been counter to that. So to uh, break those understandings of what we're supposed to believe,
Mhm.
to come into our knowing and what we now know to be truth for us, our own lived truth, because each person's experience is different, and that is absolutely okay, and we have permission to respond accordingly.
I say.
Yeah.
Ashe.
Ashe,
Yes.
Ashe, Ashe. And that was just the perfect segue
Mm-hmm.
because this first week for us all, and again, the details of this will be and reminders will show up in the community, right? So if you haven't already, pretty sure mostly everyone here has already joined, but if you haven't or you know anyone else that you'd like to share this experience with, feel free to go ahead and share the link to the school community and we'll get it back out there again. But yeah, hop in there because just as Sister Selena just shared, it's about dissolving beliefs that perhaps you've been traveling with that have shifted, right? And I love what you said, sis, about the fact that it's an individual experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we know that in this space, as always, we are a collective of non-denominational belief, right? It just means that, in this space, we are family and tribe, no matter what, your belief systems or if you have no belief systems, right, are. But this first four chapters is really about stepping into that first stage of disillusionment.
Mm-hmm.
Disillusionment. And so the idea with that really is just some of us have been living with some illusions, right? Sister Selena gave us an example of maybe it's religion, maybe it's your relationship with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's your relationship with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's your thoughts about what sacred work looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's your thoughts about financial decisions. Some of us have just been traveling with an illusion on our life. And maybe it's been influenced externally. Maybe it was parents, community, family, teachers, I don't know, YouTube, Instagram, whoever, wherever, right? Influenced in some way externally. Or maybe it was something you thought and now you've just decided you have a different take on it. But moving from that idea into a new awareness, it takes dissolving that illusion. And so that's what we mean when we say disillusionment, right? It's like disconnecting yourself from whatever those illusions are, but you got to get clear about them, right? It could look like I thought this person who I brought into my life would be here forever,
Mm-hmm.
right? I thought this was my person. I thought this was my relationship. This was my union. And I've already seen and felt and been delivered enough information and evidence that shows me that that is now an illusion that's no longer. And now I need to grieve that in some way.
Right.
That's just one example, right? It doesn't have to be a relationship with the person, but that's just an example of you had an idea and now it's dissolving, and we have to hold space for the grief of that. We have to let that be a full embodiment experience. Sometimes we just think we can trigger a new thought and immediately go into the new way of being, and we don't stick to it because we haven't embodied it, because we didn't really allow ourselves to grieve the fact that we had an illusion in the first place.
Right.
So the first few chapters are going to anchor us into that. We've heard some previews, even in the sisterhood, the brotherhood, and the shares, today about what's to come. Things like discernment, right? Um, uh, Sister LeRae brought it online, this idea of, and we'll talk about it in the book, no longer carrying things that were never yours to carry.
Mm.
Shedding. Erica Badu said, right, pack light. And we sang about it, we danced about it, you know what I mean? We recognized it. But the truth is, some of us are assuming responsibility that isn't ours to carry. And so that's going to be like the next
That's huge.
phase, right? So allowing yourself the time to live with what's on the pages for those first four chapters. There's a prelude. There's also the intro. I'm just going to give you a couple of lines before we close. Okay. So we'll lean into, and we talked about this, right?
Mhm.
You could still choose against yourself. No one's going to interrupt that pattern for you, right? You can still choose against yourself, but you can no longer do it unconsciously,
Mm. Mm.
right? And that was the change, not morality, not virtue, responsibility.
Mm.
That's the coming of line of that,
Mm.
right? Where you move from making those choices that you know are against yourself and your
Mhm.
best interests,
Mhm.
but you can no longer do it unconsciously. That's that added stress.
Mhm.
Next up, awareness does not remove weight, it removes unconsciousness,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Expanding on that thought again,
Mhm.
moving deeper. Page 21, you are not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're doing things that no longer align. You're not unsettled because you lack clarity. You are unsettled because clarity has arrived and change has not.
Mm. Mm.
Skimming down that page, next line, freedom is knowing what you are carrying and choosing it consciously.
Mm.
Consciously. So I'm going to fast track us to page 40, which is where you're going to actually hit your first. There'll be some pauses and some breath work prior to that, but that's where you're going to first interact with your integration measures, right? So there's an internal and then there's an external to move you through.
Mm.
So starting with the internal. And this is the idea when you're going through these exercises is really just to let a few of them settle. Don't force yourself, right, to move through things that don't seem to resonate just yet. But internally, where do you feel compelled to justify when your body is already clear? Your body gave you the signal. You already know this is a no, it's a yes, which way you're going. Where are you feeling compelled to justify it? What sensations arise when you imagine letting your words stand without explanation?
Mm.
Why does that feel comfortable or uncomfortable,
Mm.
right? Where do you confuse clarity with cruelty?
Mm.
Where have you been thinking that perhaps you being direct in your communication could come across cruel?
Mm.
Are you trusting people to hold your truth and or to not
Right.
and letting that clarity just be okay? What fear surfaces when you stop managing perception, the perceptions of
Mm.
others, right? That's the internal. And then we move into the external. Where does added context weaken your truth? Where have you been showing up and you know your truth, and then suddenly you see a video and it gives you a new idea, and now you're wrestling with whether or not
Mm.
you still believe your truth, right? Or you were moving forward with your sacred work and then you told it to someone else, and then they gave you a practical spin on things,
Mm.
and it shifted you away from what you knew your assignment was intended to be.
Mm.
So, where did the added context weaken the truth? What conversations drain you because you tend to over explain?
Mm. That's a good one.
Recognizing these things externally, right?
Yeah.
What might change if you trusted your words to be enough?
Mm.
Okay, so there's some of that for us to live in terms of the integration. That's just the first four chapters. Again, in this experience, whether you love reading or not, you will not be left behind because we'll definitely be speaking to it weekly on our live as we did today. We'll be holding the space divinely, and what that means is in spirit, right in the school community. So as things come online for James and I, will be sharing it there. There's already a couple of items that will go active immediately following this call. Yeah.
So give thanks, give thanks. I know before we close, just thank everybody again for showing up today, for the collective, but for yourself. We always start with us first. So we honor ourselves by showing up. And this visual will be stuck in our head of the quiet wait.
Yeah.
Right? We know better. So throughout the days, different things may show up where you start understanding that quiet wait because it's misalignment. And now you can start questioning, yourself on what to do with it.
Ashe. So meet us in the chat, of the community. Feel free to share things as it comes up for you. This is a powerful, powerful tribe. There's going to be lots of energy and just awarenesses that come up for any one of us. So it's not just for you, right? If you're feeling the nudge, share it for others.
Yes.
We want this to be a full embodiment experience for us all. Just as Sister Selena shared, James and I are inside the Londa Circle, right?
Yes.
And just really grateful to be in community with you. So with that said, we'll end with a spirit-led affirmation. So if you feel led to unmute and we can do a call and response. Sure. And that is, I honor my sacred responsibilities.
I
I
honor
honor my
my
sacred
responsibilities.
responsibilities.
I honor myself enough not to abandon myself.
I
I
honor
honor
myself
myself
enough
enough
not to abandon
not to
myself.
abandon myself.
I welcome the awareness of illusions that require dissolving.
I welcome the awareness
awareness
of
And awareness
fire.
Desire dissolve.
Ashe.
And I
Ashe.
surrender.
I surrender.
I surrender.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
We give thanks, family. Peace and blessings to you all. We will be showing up in the community. I'll go in right now and activate our links. And I'm just excited to see what's going to come up in this season for us all. Week 1, y'all. Week 1.
One.
Opening the way. We got this.
Have a blessed day. We love y'all.
Have a blessed
Have
day.
a blessed,
you.
beautiful day.
Love
Peace and
you.
blessings.
Peace
Take
and
good
blessings.
care.
Ashe.